In this video, I'll show you how to set up your integration so that you can import contacts from Salesforce to Accelevents. So let's start. If you're in your admin console, just click Manage Organization at the bottom to go to your organizer portal, and then click Integrations, and then from here click the Connect button. It will open a pop-up or another page. And then if it's your first time, you're gonna have to click on New Authentication. Click that. And then here you have to put a name, and then production, and then click create, and then it's gonna ask you to log in to your Salesforce account, and then make sure to allow access. Okay, and then the next step is to choose your record type, and in this example we're gonna use contact. Click next, and then copy this URL. We're gonna need it later when we create our flow, and then click finish. Next, let's wait for the integration to enable. You'll know that it's enabled when the button turns red. Okay, now it's enabled. Now after doing this part, you can now import attendees from Accelevents to Salesforce. So let's test that first before proceeding. So let's go to the event. And then let's go to attendees, add attendees. And I'm going to register an attendee. Put in all the information and then submit. Next, I'm going to open my Salesforce account to check if that attendee has been added as a contact. And then here you can see that attendee has been added. If you go to details, you'll see the name and the email address. The next step is to map your fields. So in this example, we're going to map the job title and the organization. So let's go to registration order form, and then go to ticket holder, and then enable those fields. Next, let's go to settings, integrations, and then click configure on Salesforce, and then add new mapping. So here I'm going to select job title, and Salesforce already has a field for title. And then for organization, I had to create the organization field in Salesforce, and then click save. And then now let's register an attendee again to see if it will carry over that information. So enter the details. And then here you put in your organization and the job title, and then submit. Okay, now let's go to Salesforce and check if that contact has been added. So there you go. If you go to details, you will see that the title and the organization also carried over. Now, since these attendees registered from Accelevents, they're also going to be added to a campaign, the auto-generated campaign. So when you click the campaign, you can go to campaign members, view all. You will see both attendees in there. And if you click the campaign member, you'll see that their subscriber state is register for registered. Next, we will create our workflow in Salesforce. And the first part is we will need to create fields, the API key field and the ticket type fields. So let's go to setup. And then Object Manager, look for Contact, click Contact, and then let's go to Fields and Relationships, click New, and then for the API key, this is a text field, click Next, and then the field label, let's copy what's in the document here, API key, the field name as well has to be the same as what you see in the document. Click Next. Click Next again, and then save. And then let's look at it, open it, and see if it's the same. And there we go. Next, we'll create another field for ticket type. Go to Fields and Relationships, click New, and then this time, this is a number field. And then let's copy the field name and also the field label and the field name. Click Next, Next again, and then save. And then let's check if it looks the same as the document. And there you go. Next, we will create outbound messages. So let's go to Home, search for outbound, click New Outbound, and then for object, let's search for Contact, and then the name, let's copy it from the document, import contact registration, and then you can just click Tab to generate the unique name. And then for the endpoint URL, let's paste in the URL that we copied earlier from our integration setup. Okay, and then on the selected fields, you need to add those two fields that you created, the API key field and the ticket type field. Okay, now we save. And let's check. And there we go. Next, we will create our flow. So let's search for flows in Home. And then click New Flow. Okay, start from scratch, click Next. Select Record Triggered Flow, Create. And then our object is Contact. And then select a record is created or updated, and then condition requirements. All conditions are met, end. And then on field, let's select the API key field. Operator is null, and then value is false. And then we need to add another condition for the ticket type. Click Add Condition, search for ticket type, and then here it should be greater than 0. Okay. And then let's save it. Just put a name for your flow. And then next we will create a new records outcome. So here let's click the plus button, and then let's select decision, and then put in the label, import decision, and then click tab. Next, for new outcome, that would be new records, and then click tab again. And then on resources, click new resource, and then here formula, API name. Let's copy the same one here, new contact create, data type boolean, and then let's copy the code is new with parentheses. And done. Next, for operator, it should be equals true, and then we click the plus button, and then here this would be update records for the label, and then we click tab again, and then in resources, click plus new resource, choose formula, API name is update contact create, data type is boolean. Now this formula is if you don't have any mapped fields, but since I mapped some fields earlier, which is the job title and the organization, we're gonna change that formula to include both of those fields, so that if changes are made in order or in Salesforce, it will also update. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna copy this and then paste it in there, and then copy this last part, paste it, and then replace ticket type C to the name of the job title field, which is title, and then another one for organization. So that's organization underscore underscore C. And then we click done. And then here we choose true. And then we are going to create the outbound message for the outcomes. So let's start with the new records. Click plus, select action, and then let's search for outbound messages. Outbound message. And then let's select that. And then a label, import contact create record. So let's copy what's in the document, and then if you click tab, it will copy over the API name. Okay, next let's do the same thing for update records. Click plus, and then click action, search for outbound message, and then click that, and then label is import contact update record, and the API name, just tab. Save this and then close it. Next, we will end the flow for default outcome. Select end, and then we'll do the same for new records. Click plus, and then select end. Okay, now let's save the flow, and then let's activate the flow. Okay, now that you're done, you can test the integration if it works. So let's go back to your admin console, and you're gonna need the API key and the ticket type number. So you go to settings integrations, and then you go to tray, enable that, and then click configure, and then copy that API key, and then click the drop down to select the ticket, and then copy the number. That's the ticket type number. And then click save. And then now we're going back to Salesforce, and we're going to create a new contact. We're going to put in the minimum information needed, which is the first name, last name, email, and we're going to add also the API key and the ticket type number. So here, paste in the API key and the ticket type number. And then save it. After saving that, let's go back to your event. And then you should see that this contact should now be added as an attendee. Now let's try another one. This time let's put in the title and the organization to see if this will also be imported. Click save. And then let's go back to the event. And then let's check the holder information. And here there is the title and the organization. Now, if you want to monitor in Salesforce whether these attendees have checked into the event, you need to add them as campaign members. So click Add Contacts, and then add them as campaign members. And then here, let's open their member record. You will see that they are the subscriber state is register. Now, if we check them in to the event, their subscriber state should update as well. So let's refresh this. And there we go. It changed to attend, meaning this attendee has already checked in. Now let's check the other attendee. Subscriber state is attend. Okay. So if you're going to change information in the contact or in the ticket holder in Accelevents, you need to do these three things to ensure that it doesn't create a duplicate attendee or it actually updates. So the first part you already did, which is to add them as campaign members. The second part is that you need to add the attendee's order number and ticket number to the contact record. So I already created the order number, order ID, and ticket ID fields in Salesforce. I just have to add the ticket ID and order number from Accelevents to Salesforce. So we'll have to do that manually. So copy the order number, paste it in there, and then the ticket number. Okay, and then let's save it. And then the last part, item 3, you have to map the order ID and the ticket ID. So we go to the admin console, go to settings, integrations, and then click configure in Salesforce, and then add order ID, and then the order ID that you created in Salesforce, and then the ticket ID, and the ticket ID you created in Salesforce. So those are both number fields. Okay, next, since that's already updated, now let's go ahead and change the title in Salesforce. And this should also update in Accelevents. And there you go. Now let's change something from Accelevents and see if it will update in Salesforce. And there you go. Now, if you don't want to use our auto-generated campaign, you can create your own campaign in Salesforce, and then you can sync it to the event. Just make sure that you also put in the event URL. Save it. And then let's go back to the admin console, go to settings, integrations, click configure in Salesforce, and then let's go down, and in campaign settings, let's select that campaign that you created and then click save. Now let's add another contact. And then let's enter the API key and the ticket type so that they would be registered to Accelevents. Let's put in also the title and the organization, and then click save. Okay, now let's go to orders. That attendee should have been added. Okay, now let's add that attendee to the new campaign. Click next, submit. Okay, now let's open that contact. Now let's add the order number and the ticket ID. And then now let's check the holder information, and then let's update it. This should also update in Salesforce. And there you go. And then if we go to the campaign and open the campaign member, subscriber status register. Now let's check in the attendee, and once they're checked in, their subscriber state will update to attend, and there you go. And that's it.